Welcome to WordPress video training. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about images that you would use on your website. A lot of the times images that you're going to be using will be coming from your digital camera or from stock photography websites. In any case, most of the images that you'll be using will be high resolution in nature. So what that means is that they are normally over a megabyte in size. So what we want to do is we want to resize those images, and that'll actually be in another video training session. However, in this video, we're going to be covering how you can actually see what the file sizes are and what type of images are used on your website. So I'm going to take us over to a website, and I'm going to show you the different versions of images. So in a lot of cases, you will see websites that have images that go full across the screen. And so these images can be used as banners, sliders, background images, and these images normally have a fixed height, fixed width. So they're a certain amount of pixels wide. Pixels is the normal measurement for images. I'll explain a little bit more about that in a bit. And then it's fixed height. So we always have a certain width and we always have a certain height. These images are a little bit more complicated to create. Normally it uses a graphics person or someone who has, let's say, Photoshop on their computer, although there are other image softwares and photo editing softwares that can be used as well. Then the other kind of image that's available or that we use on websites are images that are complementary to your text. These images normally either float to the right or float to the left of your text, and then the text wraps around it as necessary. These images, you usually will resize a height or a width. So in this case, because this image is portrait, I would say we probably resized this image for about 750 pixels tall, and then let the width do whatever it needed to. If this image was a landscape image, we would do the opposite. So we would, let's say, create the image for 500 pixels or 750 pixels wide and let the height do what it wants. The way you know different heights and widths and things like that to figure out, well, how do you figure out what size do I want for a complementary image that floats to the right? In this case, I can right click on my image, and it will bring up a pop-down menu, and I can go into View Image Info. This is able to be done on a Firefox browser. Each browser has a different set of features. In this case, it's View Image Info when I right-click on the image, and then I can go and take a look at the information. So I resized this image. Actually, originally was 738 pixels tall. 738 pixels wide, and I had resized it to 984 tall. So in order for it to fit into the space that we wanted it to, it had to be scaled down, and this is actually something that WordPress did by itself. So the image itself is a larger image than what you see on the screen, but it resized for the space that was available. The main thing to take out of this is that it is about 153 kilobytes. That's a little higher than I would normally want. However, we do have the movement on this image, so if I mouse over it, you can see it zooms in a little bit. So we wanted to accommodate for that type of feature. So we did make the image a little bit taller. So as you can see, I made it for 984, where normally I would say don't go over 750 for a portrait image. So that's basically how you'd figure out, well, approximately what size. If you're not sure, I would say, do 750 tall. It should work for practically 99% of the purposes that you want for your images. So that is how you would go about finding the size of your image that you might want to resize. So now I'm going to go back to my desktop and I'm going to show you how you figure out, what is your file size of your image that you want to upload. So I've got two files available on my desktop right now. I've got a mountain.jpg and then I've got an RSZ, which is resize underscore mountain. So I've got a Windows 10 system. If I mouse over my mountain image, I will actually get file information about it. The two pieces of information that I'm most concerned about are my dimensions as well as my size. You can see that my dimensions are 4,000 by 3,000 or approximately that, and the size is 2.7 megs. That is way too large to upload to WordPress and implement. You do not want to do anything like that. I have a resized version of the image as well, and I will show you what that looks like in an image viewer. So if your computer does not give you the information when you mouse over the file, what you can do is you can double click on it and it'll most likely bring you up in some type of image viewer that comes with your computer system. In this case, I've got an image viewer in Windows, and if I go to the top left-hand corner or right-hand corner, you'll see that there's a See More button. First off, this is the high resolution file, and you'll notice that it comes up rather large. So that already is partially an indicator that this image is quite large. If I want to know more, I can click on the right-hand side and then click File Information. And again, I'm going to see that it's 4,000 by 3,000 pixels approximately and 2.7 megs. That's way too large. So I'm going to click that down and I'm going to show you what a file would look like once it's been resized. So this is approximately what you would want to see. So I'm going to double click on my resized image. You'll notice that the preview is much, much smaller than the original. And so if I go to my right-hand side and click on the three dots and see more, I can go to the file information. In this case, I've actually resized the image. It's a landscape image, so I've done it for 500. You can do it for 750 if you prefer and let the height do whatever it wants to in the resizing program. And then my kilobyte size is 47.5 kilobytes. So that is perfect. So this is what you would want to see if, let's say, you were working with a photo gallery or just even uploading an image that's going to be complementary to your text. So I'm going to close this down. In another episode, I'm going to show you how to resize images for a complementary image. So again, to remind you, a complementary image is one that would float to the right or to the left of your content, complementing the content. We are not going to be talking about images that are fixed height, fixed width in the next issue. So if you want to find out how to resize your images so that the high resolution images can be resized down appropriately for your website, that is going to be the image resizing episode. This episode, basically, I just wanted to introduce you to images and the ramifications of uploading large resolution files to your website, which is something you definitely don't want to do. The other reason is that it's actually wasting server space. And that is normally when you're working in a shared hosting environment, which practically 99% of you probably are, you don't want to waste any more space on the server than necessary, and you don't want your website pages to load slowly. So that is how you would find out how to understand the sizes of your image and where you would use images on your website.